Hello and welcome to Tears Don't Fall for another month. I'm Connor O'Keen.
I'm Luke Ashley.
And this is the show where each month we pick a band and review their entire discography. Tier list them. I'm butchering this. You know the fucking shtick. Click on another video where I don't fuck the intro up, eh? This month, I picked Bring Me the Horizon. And if I sound nervous, it's because I am. You previously... You know what? I did this for you. Let me say this up front.
Oh,
you said... Yeah. You
right.
said on stream a while ago, while we were still listening to Soilwork, when mentioning... I think we were talking about Enter Shikari and how you'd kind of come around to Enter Shikari. And you said, maybe it's time I gave Bring Me the Horizon a go. Because you know what? I've never given them a...
Yeah, I said I gave them a go. Not for you to give me
Not for me
go.
to, like...
Not
try and drown you in the
Here comes the aeroplane. Fucking, come on, time's ticking. Worst.
Yes. So that's exciting. We're going to be getting into that tonight. Can we talk first about where we're both coming to this from?
Certainly.
So I've had a real love-hate relationship with Bring Me the Horizon over the years, and it kind of persists in that fashion to this day. When I first heard of them, I hadn't even heard their music yet. I hated them on sight. I just... The way they looked, they weren't wearing the uniform, they had the fucking haircuts, and I remember seeing them on the front cover of Blunt magazine, which was like the only like alternative / metal publication that my school library stocked. And so, you know, the month that Lamb of God was on the front cover, it was 2009, they were on the front cover with Wrath, I was fucking thrilled. And then later that year, or earlier that year, sometime that year, fucking Bring Me the Horizon was on the front cover because Suicide Season had just come out, and I was just vitriolic. Hated them. But then happened to catch them live, I think in 2010, or no, it would have been a little while after, excuse me, because their third album was on the horizon. Was about to come out. They played some material from that. They were opening for Bullet for My Valentine. Also played with Cancer Bats. And I came away from that show going, fuck, they put on a really good show. I really enjoyed seeing them play live. I got excited for the new album, and when the new album came out, I went back and listened to their first two albums and found myself enjoying a lot of the material. I then was basically a diehard when Sempiternal came out. Went and caught them live playing their own headlining show at the same venue that I'd seen them open for Bullet for My Valentine at, and it still stands as one of the best shows I've ever seen. Then they started going the kind of very overtly poppy route, and I kind of fell off with them a bit, but then kind of went, oh no, I like it. And I fell off with them. So I'm very wishy-washy with my feelings around Bring Me the Horizon. And so they've been a hard one for me to rank, as we'll get into.
Yeah.
Where are you coming to this from?
So I similarly was first made aware of Bring Me through their marketing, their appearance through publications. They appeared in Guitar World magazines, which I would read every night before bed. Back in, this would have been 2006, 7, I suppose. And Count Your Blessings had just released. So I was aware of them and on the ground floor since the get-go, essentially.
Right.
When Pray for Plagues video was released. This was the dawn of YouTube music videos, essentially. I think YouTube may have been birthed in like 2004. But really, 2006, it's hard to find anything before 2006 in terms of music videos. That was when the platform started going that direction. And Pray for Plagues was leading the charge. So that was one of my first introductions, my first experiences with deathcore. There was A Job for a Cowboy around then as well. Bands like, I'd say, Carnifex to a more
Carnifex,
a bit more traditional.
But
but has that deathcore front.
Yep, all shall perish.
Yeah, all shall perish. But all of these I found sort of difficult to hard pill to swallow. Have certainly since come around to Job for a Cowboy, All Shall Perish, and Carnifex.
Yeah.
But Bring Me the Horizon was always the band that I went, there's the Happy Meal toy, you know? For like really, it's I could never and to this day don't really get the marketing around it, don't get the hype. In terms of their initial release and what they were going for.
Sure.
Has that changed? Let's find out.
All right, let's get into it. There we go. The transitions are working. Fabulous.
We love that.
Okay, so 2006, we start our journey here in 2006 with Count Your Blessings, their 2006 debut, released originally by Visible Noise in the UK and later by Earache Records in the US. Now, touting tracks like Tell Slater Not to Wash His Dick, For Stevie Wonder's Eyes Only, and Off the Heeze, you'd be forgiven for thinking this is going to be 36 minutes of unconvincing adolescent chest beating from a group of teenagers in the mid-2000s, because that's exactly what this is. And boy, it's a book you can judge by its cover, and it's a D for irredeemable. This fucking stinks. It's superficial, superfluous, and immature. It smells like a rec hall, and it doesn't sound much better. Now, granted, I'm partial to this sound for nostalgic reasons, so there's some guilty pleasure to be had in reliving those cringy years, but this is not an album worth revisiting if you don't have that nostalgia. I feel like the fact that this is not available to stream anywhere is pretty telling of that. It doesn't do anything. It's interesting. This Bring Me the Horizon start out as such a faceless, generic, stupid band. It's where we've looked at other debuts that sound kind of, you know, raw and fueled by a youthful exuberance, like Trivium's debut and even Soilwork's debut. We've looked at those with kind of fondness because there's a charm to it. Here, it's just charmless. It's really fucking stinky album. And I said superfluous before. Really, this feels like a pointless album. It's them aping bands that are doing anything good that this album or anything. You read reviews from the time, and there are some vaguely positive reviews, but anything that those reviews count as positives are being done 10 times better than other bands at the time. Don't Close Your Eyes and Killing with a Smile from Parkway Drive were doing the hardcore side of this kind of metalcore at the time far better. The Black Dahlia Murder were doing the Swedish-influenced Melodeath side of what they're attempting to do here far better, far more convincingly. And the band almost immediately shifts styles after this album, so it feels not really worth talking about, outside of just going, what the fuck? You know, how are they arena headliners now? How are they festival headliners now? If you look at this band and this album and where they are now, it's almost impossible to draw a line. But we shall. And something shocking about this to me are some of the positive reviews for this album at the time. Aaron McKay, a writer for Chronicles of Chaos, praised Ollie Sykes' vocals on this album, likening it to the Obituary frontman John Tardy. Tardy, maybe. John, not so much.
Yeah, okay.
What do you think?
I do agree with you, Connor. This album is not worth talking about.
Okay. Are you going to put the push the button?
PTSD. This is a nightmare record. My initial listen to this, I was driving past my high school and I almost fucking crashed my car when Pray for Plagues came on. This is a truly, like, it unlocked core memories. And we did discuss last week on stream about gatekeeping mentality and whatnot.
Yeah.
Listening to this record made me fucking regress.
Yeah.
As a whole, just in general, years of progress undone in a fell swoop of half an hour. Really not worth talking about.
You went off. Went off these, eh?
Yeah. I'm going to do my best not to drag.
Sure.
And I'd rather, if I have nothing positive to say, not to say anything at all. So let's not talk.
That's totally fine. I want to read chat's thoughts here. Let's have a look. So Jade says, I like Bring Me the Horizon. Look, I'm an emo pop punk queen, so shrug emoji. That's fair enough. Not holding it against you. Con's given the D. It's a nervous D, though. I'm waiting for the strong, hard, confident D Luke's about to give. Oh my god. Wow, it really isn't on Spotify. No, it's not.
Nope.
Good to know bands can have a stinky D and come back from it, says Anth. Jade says, anyone else hate that the good score on all tier lists are red? Feels like the colors go in the wrong direction.
Well, it's red. It's hot.
Yeah. Stinky album indeed, says Tyler, and Tyler is reporting as a Bring Me the Horizon fan there. So,
yes.
You know, the chat has it. Did you both take the 30 minutes to actually listen to this, or was it a stop-start affair?
Stop-start affair on my behalf.
I've listened to this thing in its entirety at least 2 or 3 times this month.
It's stop-start for me.
Yeah.
I have listened to it in its entirety. It doesn't change anything. Musically, it was mentioned, yes, they were 16 when they wrote this, or released this.
That's no excuse. Like,
Jesus, Connor.
No, I'm sorry. Like, Trivium were about that age.
Yeah.
When they put out their For Inferno.
Yeah, sure. But
Caius' first album, they were absurdly young. Like,
I'll say they're far better musicians outside of Ollie Sykes at this point in time compared to where I was when I was 16 as a guitarist.
Sure.
There's no way I'd be able to perform any of this material. In terms of its performance, very loose, and most of what passes as a melodic section is more of a just straight arpeggios up and down, or just straight breakdowns.
Yeah.
No note choice,
no
color notes.
Well, it's like
nothing. Like there's nothing outside of minor thirds and open note breakdowns from the guitar perspective. And the tempo changes aren't fluid. They're janky, but not in a way that it feels in like they should be. They're trying to rock the listener.
No. The way that Soilwork does tempo changes on their first 2 albums is thrilling to see how they manage to pull those things off. This, I use the word superficial to describe this album.
Yes.
It's and this was something that I found really. This band and bands like this band when I was, at my metal elitist phase, I found this shit to be anathema because it felt so superficially heavy. It was just kids writing stuff that was breakdown fatigue.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like they just discovered how to play an arpeggio, and that's all they fucking do.
And that
it
counts
feels
as your melody. That's it. And it's more of an exercise. It's a technical exercise, not a melody.
Yeah, it's juvenile, and I mean that neutrally, but also negatively. Anyway, I want to read more of chat because chat has gotten some more stuff to us. Pray for Plagues is fun live. That's about the only thing good on this album, says Huntsman. As a song on this album and the album in general, juvenile and gross.
Yeah, they try to infuse a lot of humor, and this is indicative of mid-thousands deathcore as a whole. There's a lot of you went into almost porno grind levels of humor, where it's the objective is to be as offensive or gross as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, comedy's the fastest thing to age, and when you're going for offensive comedy, that ages even faster.
Yeah, sure. Chris says, if at first you don't succeed, make sure it's the worst thing ever conceived. It was a setup. They needed the bar that low.
Now, that's the only dynamic thing about this album.
What's that?
Is that, they've started so purposefully rough.
All right. Well, let's move on. Shall we?
Please.
Alrighty, so 2009, Suicide Season comes out. And just double checking my dates on there. Was it 2009? It's 2008, my bad. 2008.
Yeah.
Suicide Season comes out after what they describe as an extremely hateful reaction to the music from their first album. The band hunkers down in Sweden with Fredrik Nordstrom and sets to recording Suicide Season. Suicide Season.
Hey-yo.
There we go. This showcases a fairly major shift in their style, adopting a kind of if you can't beat 'em, join 'em approach. But this is where emphasis on the correct syllables is very important. It's not if you can't beat them, join them. It's if you can't beat them, join them. Let me explain. They switch from ripping off better Melodeath bands of the time and just start contributing to the glut of down-tuned, breakdown-led late 2000s core. And what do they bring new to the table? No, I don't think that much new, but they do shoehorn the kind of prerequisite bass explosion sounds.
Oh my god,
electronic stuff
in every single. Like, the only way you can define one section change from another is when the bass drop hits. It's like, oh, okay, we're in the new riff now, because it's just boom.
Yeah. The Come Down, Chelsea Smile, and Diamonds Aren't Forever are perfect. Whether for the right reasons or not, perfect time capsules of that era and sound, for better or worse. And I will say I quite like the closing title track. I think it's an ambitious effort, ending your album with an 8.5 minute song when that is not your bag.
Did you enjoy the penultimate track?
No Need for Introductions. I've read about girls like you on bathroom stalls or
toilet doors.
Toilet doors, there you go.
Yeah.
Mine sounded cleaner. However, the whole thing, I think, is hampered by a bit of that breakdown fatigue and not enough moments that are memorable for the right reasons. It's still immature, and I'm not sure there's much here on offer that would convert those who weren't there in the right place or the wrong place at the right or wrong time for this one. But I'd say the end result is at least an album that's more cohesive and certainly, to put it generously, carries with it a sense of cathartic fun. You know?
Maybe the JJ Peters bit.
Yeah.
But, like, that's not them. That's
Party to you, bastard!
That's a guest spot.
Yeah, sure. Well, give me your thoughts.
Shit. It's this. I think you were quite apt. They've just pivoted their audience and moving with the trends of the times. This is a time I'd sooner forget in metal history, in all honesty. I don't think there's much to be gleaned or to be juiced for any future historians that are looking to pluck from a past of metal and spin into something new. This is dry and void of this record and this just the bands that are involved here as well. D's Nuts is Sam Carter not on?
Yes, Sam Carter from Architects does feature on the third last track.
Credit to the artists that they're able to work with.
The sadness will never
Nordstrom
end.
And Sam Carter on here. Fantastic producers and performers.
Yeah, this is something I can't figure out is how they managed to get that caliber of producer and
because it was fashionable
performer on board. Yeah,
like this was the onion on the belt.
Okay.
For 2008.
Yep. Yeah. All right.
All
right.
I really don't have
much to say on this one.
Much to say on this again. Ollie Sykes has not improved vocally, and it is anathema to my ears. I don't have much to contribute on the musicality as well. The production
totally fair.
Is far well above the songwriting capability.
Yeah, sure. All right, let's have a look at chat. Kale says, okay, so that Chelsea Smile riff, so be slapping. Doobie slapping? Is that a misspell? Either way, the implication is the same. Really? I didn't have you pegged as a Suicide Season era Bring the Horizon apologist. Not you need to apologize for anything.
No, they should though.
All right. Yeah, meant Doobie slapping. Okay. All right. Let's move on.
Yes.
Alrighty. Third album. We get to funny, too long a title, 2010.
Oh god, you thought that that the Toilet Door song was a long time. Try that for an album.
There is a hell, believe me, I've seen it. There is a heaven, let's keep it a secret. Okay, so finally, Bring Me the Horizon album I can put on and feel largely unashamed at enjoying a great deal of. The experimentation that felt fledgling and just kind of there for most of Suicide Season here feels far more convincing, and for me, shoots it up to a B. They're crawling up there for me.
Good on.
Good on them. The electronic and symphonic influences, the clean and choral vocals go a long way towards making this feel like a band that is indeed attempting to mature and makes for an album that sounds overall far more inspired than any of its predecessors. I think the more introspective lyrics, while perhaps not convincing to all listeners, do lend a sense of cathartic intent to Ollie's delivery, even though might not be to everyone's liking. I think it makes tracks like It Never Ends and Don't Go sound, kind of desperate and carry a sense of drama that I really fucking liked when it came out. And still have a soft spot for.
Throwing a tantrum on the bedroom floor is not drama.
Hey, I'm sorry. It is when you are fucking 18 and angsty, and this got me at the right time, all right? I feel a lot of my fondness for these records is steeped in a kind of nostalgia, and I can't be... I can't hide that. I have to be honest with where I'm coming from here.
Sure.
And yeah, I found Don't Go like emotionally impactful. Now I listen to it and I go, oh fuck. But
sure,
I found it effective.
Sure.
I think there's also a greater, not great, but greater emphasis on dynamics in their songwriting. They give some songs room to breathe. I feel like Home Sweet Hole is a good example of this. Really like the first verse. At 53 minutes, the album does feel a little long in the tooth, though, and I think a lot of the material on the back end goes on a little bit. So, What do you reckon?
It's okay.
Hey!
That's all right.
It's okay.
We got a B. Are you happy? Chat? Is this what you wanted?
I do, and I want to hear why.
This album presently surprised me after the last few albums. I wasn't expecting this much evolution. This at this point in their career, I was expecting them to pivot the next album, to be honest. So this was a bit more involved than I expected, musically. Vocally and lyrically. I'll just say this for the rest of the discography. The approach to Bring Me the Horizon songwriting as a whole is that you get 2 of 3, and this is fine. It's just not how I enjoy music. You get 2 of 3 of harmony, melody, or rhythm. Seldom do you get 3 of these in the same riff. It's either like just a riff with no lead line and rhythm, or it's vocals and just rhythm, or the drums drop out and it's vocals and a few harmonies. So very, very seldom do you have a counter melody come through at any point, or do you have a solo coming through with some extra frills around it. It's a very singular focus. If you are listening to Bring Me the Horizon, you are listening to one element of the song at a time at any point in time. And as dynamic as this album is, they just do that the whole album. There's not really, there's never like multiple hooks going on for you to get a deeper look into the music. And lyrically, it's so repetitive. The Ollie Sykes lyrics they're both so juvenile and repetitive, to the point usually you'd have a refrain that repeats, but here straight verses repeat over and over and over, or they might explore like the same verse but just change one or two words and that's it. Or bridges will be the same line just over and over and over. There's just considering that the lyrics are so forward and there's not much else in musicality, you're not left with anything else to pay attention to. What saves this and brings it to a B is the let's say they're more experimental, and there are more soundscapes, more tones being explored, and the production once again is pivoting them up to a B and holding that up. Structurally, as an album, it's far more interesting, and I think that's probably the biggest strength of this is as an album, not individual songs. That I was from track to track, I was finding myself pleasantly surprised at the flow of the record.
Cool. Yeah, I feel you there. When I was listening to it earlier today, you get to the end of technically what is the end of the song for Anthem, and there's still another minute and a half left, and I went to skip it. But then I remembered, oh wait, no, I really like how this leads into It Never Ends, so I just let it play out.
Yeah, the album does flow well, and once again, the best vocal performances are the guests.
Yeah,
is what it is.
Is what it is. Shall we see what chat thinks of this one? Let's have a look. Daydream Deluxe says, There Is a Hell IMO was not only their best work of their work, but it was also a very great starting point for those who were desperate to know what Bring the Horizon were about back then. Yeah, I'd say this is a far better in for curious new listeners than any of the previous albums.
As just as comedy is the fastest thing to age in a genre sensibility.
Yeah.
Electronic music ages equally fast, and you can tell that this is a turn of the noughties. All of their electronic albums for vocal production just sounds uniquely like 2010 to 2012. Like you can tell this dropped at the same time as Scary Monsters and Nice Bride. You can.
Okay.
It's very evident in the really heavy auto tune and choppy nature. So it's very dated.
Sure. Rid says It Never Ends was the first Bring the Horizon song I ever heard, and it was enough for me to not care about them. Huntsman, 2010 long title album was definitely the start of the Bring Me the Horizon sound IMO. I'm still affected by Don't Go, lol. Hey, I'm glad it's still affecting people. B from Luke, this is unexpected. There Is a Hell is my second favourite Bring Me the Horizon album, says Furia. Luke will attest to my horrible music taste, though. Definitely. Chris says definitely found their feet, but not their voice situation, IMO. I meant of their discography. My mind went blank. Yeah, fair enough, Daydream. Carl says, oof, the Korn Skrillex album aged like milk. I don't know about that. It's funny, the electronic elements that they bring in on this album and also on subsequent albums, we'll get to that. I think these guys managed to do, because this was not an uncommon thing, combining electronic sounds with this kind of metalcore.
No. But the symphonic elements and the dub elements,
I think these guys do it in a way that they meld them in a manner that's far more, I don't know, it sounds more inspired to me. It sounds more, I'm more convinced by it. I'm more swayed by it. It feels more like a cohesive part of their sound rather than just...
It's a part of the structure of the track rather than being something that's clearly an afterthought. Like they've written the breakdown. They're like, oh shit, we need some like electronic melody over this.
Yeah.
For me, it's going, okay, we want symphonic textures for this section. We want electronic textures for this section, and writing that first, then introducing their heavier sections based off of that. So it's really like what they use as a foundation.
Yeah.
And I think very early in their career, this album, this is they're going, okay, we're using a digital foundation from here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And enhancing it with riff.
Yeah.
So this is probably like their pivot point. I really expect it to be the next album. This was a surprise.
Okay. Well, let's get into the next album. Sempiternal, baby! 2013. they come out with this. And this is the first album to feature former Worship keyboardist Jordan Fish, the first to feature Lee Malia playing both lead and rhythm guitars. And this was not only my favourite Bring Me the Horizon album for the longest time, but one of my favourite albums, period. And coming back to it, I don't think it's hard to see why, at least for me. And I'm fucking terrified to put this to you, but I think that I rate this as an S tier. I love this fucking album, dude. I still really love this album. It's to me, it's big, lavish.
Yeah.
I think it's ambitious in its goals of in its goals of like filling arenas. You know, I think it's ambitious for a band at
continues to.
Yeah. I think it's where other bands were kind of dicking around with the electronic elements. These guys managed to make them a fundamental part of their sound, and in a way that just exploded their popularity, and set them. I don't know. I found it to be at the time, and can still look back on it as such, to be compelling, modern for its time metal, with its sights set on world domination. And I mean, sorry, we're here. Look at them now. The trajectory to where they are now makes total sense from here on out.
Yeah, it does.
It feels like all of the elements that the band has been tinkering with up to this point on previous albums have kind of found their place comfortably in the mix. Especially in the case of these electronic elements, it never sounds like an afterthought. It feels like you say, a foundational thing, and it works in tandem with the other elements and the heavier elements. Man, I still, while it's been memed into oblivion lately, that wall of electronica that opens Can You Feel My Heart was, and still is for me, exhilarating. I fucking love this song. And I think each song feels like it's built to make arenas move. They're all anthemic in their own way, and seeing them play this material on the album tour for this album was huge. It was fucking fantastic. And so while, again, nostalgia is playing a large role in my grading here, I feel S tier love for this album.
Right.
Now, I will say, you mentioned Ollie's lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
They're not great.
No, they're not.
And a big part of why I think I liked this album so much is that where Count Your Blessings and Suicide Season came out when I was in my metal elitist phase, this came out when I was in my all too confident atheist phase.
Oh,
and so many songs that are just like, God is shit, fuck your God, your shit's cause you like God.
It's so much swearing all the time.
Yeah.
It's really cringy.
Antivist,
I swear.
Antivist was one of my favorite fucking songs when this came out, and listening to it now, I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
But I have an S tier fondness for this album, and I think this made every other band that was trying to do what Bring the Horizon were doing at the time flail and try even harder and fall on their fucking faces. I mean, yeah, it's because of this album that we have the arena core act that we've got today.
It's this album's fault. Now, I do not understand everyone attributing the arena sound to this album explicitly, though. I really don't understand how this is such a turning point for so many people and such an anchor point in metal. To me, this sounds like it came 13 years late. This sounds like the first 3 albums of Linkin Park explored the heaviness of like Hybrid Theory. This is 13 years late on that, and it really is not that different. Instrumentally and electronic to metal meld, and the way it's infused and the ideas were explored really is not that far removed from Linkin Park to me. Going from that and then how they would future explore it in Minutes to Midnight. It's a sound I absolutely despise, and that's just a personal thing. And that's absolutely fine. I'm like, totally get how people can love it because it is aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
However, it's only like 3 notes that are droned on for any melody. And it's so simple. Like, it's more simple than a lullaby or a nursery rhyme. Like, there is really no depth to the idea. And it's like, once again, there's very little to explore here. And there's very little to engage on and really sit on. So I don't know what it is that people latch onto and hold onto because it feels like it's a solved question after a listen. Or a solved riddle, I should say. For me, it's a C.
Sure.
Because I can't, in good faith, put it to the same spot as the previous release. I think they go backwards. At least artistically, it feels like they're broadening their scope for marketability.
Yeah, but their ambitions artistically are narrowed.
Yeah, it's like this is less less forward thinking than the previous record for me.
Yeah, okay.
I don't understand why people cite this instead of early Linkin Park as modern metal. I don't get it. If anyone can help me with that, I'd love to hear it and understand it because clearly I'm in the minority here.
Slide
this
into
is
the DMs.
This is clearly a landmark record for so many people. Maybe it just hit the right people at the right time, and they were too young to have been on the Linkin Park boat, and they weren't around that sound.
No,
I
wasn't around. I wasn't too young to be swept up in the or to Yeah, I lived through Linkin Park.
I think it's the right place, right time.
I think so too. I honestly think so too. This part of my fondness for this album was getting swept up in the excitement of this album coming out and seeing metal publications who'd, we'd all been like, fuck these guys, they're shit, up until album 3 and then gone, ooh, what have these guys got next? And then they came out with an album that was is pleasing to the ear and fills arenas and stuff, and it was exciting. It was genuinely exciting to be swept up in that.
Sure, I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
But I'm not coming.
No, I know.
Angle.
I'm just saying.
I'm looking back and going, it's not that fresh, is it, though? So that's where I'm at.
Let's see what chat thinks. Sempiternal. Poyo puts this at an A. Furious is C tier at best. Oh my god, Fury, I could not have picked that from you. I didn't even know this song was Bring With Your Eyes until like 2 months ago, with regards to Can You Feel My Heart, says Rids.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I see that track as their flagship song.
Yeah.
I was like from an outsider perspective, Can You Feel My Heart has been their like the Bring Me track that they perform live because it does meet the electronic and metal elements.
When we first started Tunes as a fucking like an idea, when we shot the pilot episode of the web show, I believe my first pick to show you and Rodney on that episode was Can You Feel My Heart?
Yeah.
And it got a tune.
Yeah. It's gone less since. That's like I was pretty fresh to it at that point.
Yeah.
There's a difference between the single and the album.
Sure.
If you want an album, not a single.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Husband says, still one of my favorite all-time albums, huge noise, impactful lyrics, and feels so memorable. And there's a reason songs like Shadow Moses, Can You Feel My Heart are what people think of when they hear Bring Me the Horizon. That's true. That's true.
But if they do this album does that same thing a lot. Like it's all anthemic.
Yeah.
It doesn't explore as many ideas as the previous record.
Sure. Poyo says, Giga Chad meme song for Giga Chad album. That's funny. Huntsman says, Antivist is so juvenile and it's cringy as fuck, but I still love it. Fair enough.
Sure. Like it's this is the crux of TDF. It's like, hey, can you convince a new listener of old ideals?
Chris says, capital S tier absolutely grooves live and gets the people going. Turn off brain and enjoy big sound. Thank you, Poya. Says, Linkin Park Survivor medals in the mail, and also mass hysteria is the reason then. This was interesting for me, says Huntsman, because I came to this after the release, or after the next release. I was quite young in my music exploration and had come across Linkin Park before Sempiternal. Sempiternal still grabbed me more overall.
Granted, like, this has the benefit of 13 years of production movement. So, and it is a far more high fidelity than Linkin Park's offerings back then.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, at its core, structurally, the same premise.
Mm-hmm. Bo says, Shadow Moses always gets a little kick and an arm flail from me. That's, high praise. All right, shall we move on? That's the spirit. Next album, very exciting. So, they come out a few years later. What year was that? Give me a hot sec. 2015.
We're getting modern
That's
now.
The spirit comes out. Modern.
That's the word
That's
of the week.
Word of the day.
Yeah.
All right, so this sees the band continue down that path to becoming arena core giants, picking up where Linkin Park would literally soon leave off, and convincingly so with tracks like Throne, echoing Meteora era Park pretty shamelessly, but to great effect. It's poppier, catchier, and I think hookier than Sempiternal in hindsight. And I really appreciate that. I chuck it at an A because I don't have the mass hysteria element, as Poirot put it, for this one, but I still rate it very highly. I really like every track on this album, and I feel far less conflicted listening to something that is unashamedly poppy and sappy than something that's trying to tick those boxes covertly and with an angry face. Mm-hmm. This is... They are doing exactly what they want to do on this album. There's no pretense to being anything other than alt metal arena rock.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it. Simples. I like the music. Go.
Probably my best B MTH album. Maybe a B plus MTH.
Ooh.
This album is both the most experimental and cohesive record in their catalogue.
Okay.
Which I think is a really hard balance, and props to them for that.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy the music, but I do enjoy the structure of the album once again.
Mm-hmm.
I find it interesting, and I think there is something for me to learn in the way that this album is built. I find it pretty fresh, actually. And I'm curious to see what comes of that on repeat listens. This, somewhat, I've learned very much since my Enter Shikari TDF. Or our Enter Shikari TDF. but my experience with Enter Shikari on TDF.
Yes.
Which was, I stated that I was less of an Enter Shikari fan than when I entered the ring on that TDF. And since they've become one of my most listened to bands, I expect my Spotify Wrapped to have Enter Shikari as potentially the most played artist.
Wow.
For the year. Outside of, TDF skewing that. Yeah. So, and once again, I feel like this is a comparable artist to Enter Shikari. Mm-hmm. Blending heavy aesthetics from multiple genres. And adding electronic music into metal, infusing that, pop sensibilities. Mm-hmm. I think this is the album to get me into Bring Me the Horizon's mid-material. When I say mid-career.
Yeah.
Because, of course, everything is mid. It's Bring Me the Horizon. But I think this is my largest pivot on this record. Ollie is not breaking my balls here. Lyrically, yes, but at least... not on a performative level. I feel like there's a lot more melody and emotion at play that feels less exasperated, less forced, and as a vocalist has a far greater sense of technique. Or greater technique.
And I think
and uses it in a more synergistic manner with the music.
Yeah, I would say too, his lyrics have acquired a degree of nuance on this album. There's a slightly tongue-in-cheek kind of quality to stuff like Happy Song and Throne. Follow You's probably the most overtly
I haven't
saccharine track
yet. But
I mean, in terms of tracks like Blasphemy or What You Need, they are kind of coy in their anti-religious sentiment, where stuff like the material from Sempiternal is anything but coy.
Yes,
he's not a coy boy.
I'll have to hold you to that. Like, after so much trolling through the lyrics for these albums, I've gone, just put it down. Through most of this discography, this is the only, in our time with TDF, this has easily been my hardest one to get through, where I found it difficult to get through any album without having to stop and it not ruin the next few hours of my day. So...
I'm really sorry. I mean, I know, like, Teehee, I'm making him listen to Bring Me the Horizon all month. But I genuinely, I was hoping that you would get something out of this discography. That's always
these albums.
I know. Okay. What does chat think? Huntsman says, sorry, Poyo Boyo. Sorry, we got a lot of comments. The amount of emo memes that use Throne sticks out to me, says Jack. Bobo says, people who compare this to Meteora are first against the wall when I take over. This is minutes to midnight, if anything.
This one? I... Potentially, but I haven't seen That's the Spirit be used as a like a cultural cornerstone.
The way that
Sempiternal is. And sure. that's fine. You're like... Of course we're going to use other past albums for references on current releases. Like, you got to use something as a mixed reference, unless you're wanting to reinvent the game. And go ahead. Like, that's completely normal. But Sempiternal being used as a watershed when it's, to me, just it's old hat.
Okay.
Is the difference.
Yeah. Huntsman says, That's the Spirit for me is a product of timing. S tier for me. As my first intro to Bring Me the Horizon, every track is good for me. I was beginning my first real dive into music in my formative 18-year-old phase of life. It just clicked with me. I have fond memories of being introduced to Drown on a KFC close and asking, what the hell is this? I love it. Oh, that's really nice.
I'm seeing a lot of incidental and timing come up here. And not a lot of, this is actually this holds up. Interesting. Just an observation.
Daydream says, That's the Spirit gets no lower than an A for me, but it sits at an S for me because it made me understand Bring Me the Horizon a lot better. It actually properly made me a fan of theirs. It's metalcore that sits in the echelon of arena rock fluidly and still lives up to its quality 7 years later.
Can you put 3 words less aesthetically pleasing than arena rock metalcore in the English language?
Hudson says, I think That's the Spirit is my all-time fave album for sure. Timing, informative years, early exploration of music. This album helped me fall in love with music. Oh, that's really nice. Chris says, someone say something about the sax solo. Yes, there's a sax solo on the last song, and it's fun.
I don't think I ever made it to the last song.
Really?
No. It's this was okay, 3 tracks, close your eyes, try not to think about it for the next few hours. Let's dive in again. Just submerge.
Okay. Vo, how are you? Please weigh in on these. We are ranking Bring Me the Horizon. Let us know what your thoughts are. Sorry, Poyo Boy has an entrance here. Arena Rock Gore Grind.
At least that's fresh. It hasn't been done as much. It hasn't been done to death.
Oh, dear. Okay. Let's move on to I was so curious to hear where they would go from this, because it's okay, you've done the pop thing. Is this what you do now? And they went, yes.
Yeah.
2019 Ammo. I think it's Ammo, because that's how he says it. That's how he says it in the title track, or in the track that says the. Well, it's not the title track, but it says the name.
Because is that French, amour? Or...
Amour. Who knows?
There are French spoken intros in this album, I believe.
I don't have much to say about this album other than the first time I heard it, I fucking hated it. The second time I heard it, I was stoned, and it just kind of clicked. It's a perfectly enjoyable pop record. I really like hearing these guys do pop shit because it's not something I don't have a horse in that race. You know, I don't feel a sense of like, oh, they're not doing it right though. I don't care if they're doing it right or wrong. If the songs go beep, boop, 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 and I get to go, you know, I'm just having fun with this shit at this point. It's catchy, it's eclectic, it's plenty of fun. I set it at a B, a solid B. It can pivot to an A depending on how fucking stoned I am when I hit play on this thing. What do you think?
For me,
I like them bastardizing pop more than trying to do.
Look, I like
metal.
It's a B minus.
Okay.
I'm putting it in a B because I want to give this a few more listens. But I think this is going to pivot to a C. It's it's more leaning into like I feel old using this term, and this is an equally aging term.
Do it.
It's starting to lean into like more of a SoundCloud focused.
Sure. Yeah.
Audience.
Yeah, I mean, look at the fucking titles.
Like,
they're all in lowercase.
Yeah, it's got this like let's just call it that SoundCloud aesthetic that is pervading this record, and whether that's organic or not, or if it's just a marketing move and they're going, well, we got to stay up with the times. They have been, as they will continue to do. You say you've got no horse in this race.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even like I'm saying up to the cup. So not my. I have zero care, zero love for that side of the heavy culture. Is what it is. You can't win them all, and that's okay. Not I'm not going to yuck their yum here. Just not for me. I think this is a C, but I'm like giving benefit of the doubt for another listen for a B. Sure,
fair enough. All right, let's have a look at what chat thinks. Vo says, okay, I agree more with Connor's list here, although Suicide Season should be a B or an A. Would love to hear your...
Yeah, please tell us why.
Please tell us why.
No, just not for me, but please.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Want to hear why it's a B or an A for you, not why we should change our picks, because it's already on screen, man. We can't do that. That was a D for D's nuts, says Daydream. Wholeheartedly agree with you on Suicide Season, Vo, says Furio. Really? Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Look.
I mean, that's like, do you say that Furio and Vo through the lens of your existing experience? Would it still be a B or an A without, like, if you just listen to it today? Like, understanding where it came from? Or if it was, like with that existing history?
Is it the sort of thing we feel like a lot of these, and I can say from my experience, a lot of these are albums that I was there when they came out and was swept up in the excitement of this new band doing weird new shit. Yeah.
There seems to be a great amount of nostalgia in particular for Bring Me, but that could just be my where I'm coming from.
Huntsman says the pop thing is a C for him. The only song that holds up for me is Mantra nowadays. I got so defensive against Suicide Season elitists and got my first intro to Gatekeepers on this release. At the time, I really enjoyed more of the album, but it just feels more skippable. I was hoping for more because it was the first release I was around for. Yeah, being in on the ground floor for a release and having it not really cut the mustard is always a drag, hey? Furious says, look, probably not with regards to Suicide Season. It was such a big album for me when it came out, and now I only listen to a few select songs. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this album. It's just dumb, catchy fun. I find most of the songs get stuck in my head fairly easily. Sugar Honey Iced Tea is a fucking key culprit.
Ugh, gross, I'm sorry.
I get it stuck in my head so easily, dude.
It really sucks.
Oh, man.
Well, yuck that yum.
Yuck my yummy iced tea.
Too sweet. Use sugar or honey, not both.
And Track with Grimes is there also.
Oh, we love Grimes.
We love Grimes. All right. Last album to talk about. What was this? Last year? Let me
This was.
Let me check. This was 2020. This was pandemic release. Yeah. Oh my god! And this is we're counting this as an album. Although I do want to just reiterate that this is listed on Wikipedia
human music release.
As a human music release. As a give me a second. I gotta fucking click on it because it's the wording. Posthuman: survival horror is a commercial release by British rock band Bring Me the Horizon, according to Wikipedia. Yeah. It gets even weirder. I was reading this earlier today, and I was like, well, it's all fucked then. So they talked about this as being an EP, and then on November 2nd, 2022, Jordan Fish explained how in an interview he got the terminology of the record wrong because it wasn't supposed to end up with 9 tracks on it. So saying, I didn't think it was going to be 9 tracks. I guess EP, we probably used the wrong terminology in the first place. I don't think we should have maybe said EP. What is this fucking thing? Anyway.
They never said their album. It's just not an EP. I didn't say LP. It's just not an EP.
It's not an EP. But it's not...
but they never said it was an LP. So it's just a commercial release.
It's a commercial release. And you know what it is? It's a B. I feel kind of... This is just junk food music. When it first came out, I really, really, quite vocally resented its existence. It feels like it is designed to just be dumb, throwback, slightly new metal, Linkin Parky, arena metalcore with faux woke bullshit lyrics.
Oh,
the cunt with the who's given himself fangs and has face tattoos is telling me to wake up. To borrow a phrase from Chris, I'm awake, Ollie, and I'm tired. However, whenever I want dumb, fucking stupid junk food music, I'll go back to this album. I've come back to this album far more than I thought I was going to, just because I like some of the melodies. I like some of the hooks.
So, do you get full with having so many junk food picks on here, though?
I don't consider...
Like you said, Ammo is essentially junk food.
Yeah. Well, I don't...
Considering you listen to it when...
Yeah. If I'm looking for junk food picks, I'm not putting all of these on. I'm not binging all of these. I'm picking one. You know, I pick one bag of snacks.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. How about you? What are you coming to this with?
See, it's not my bag. It feels like a step backwards, and it feels like Bring Me, but particularly not just Ollie, but the production as a whole is receding. It's devolving. Not just a throwback, but far less mature. If that's your bag, sure. I don't think Bring Me needs to be any less mature than they already are. And I don't think they need to inflict that upon their fan base. Instead of wake up, maybe grow up. Try, I don't know. This certainly didn't resonate with me at all. And it's feeling far less inspired in the album flow. It's quite abrasive, and granted, they haven't done abrasive in a long time, so maybe that pivot back is quite welcome if you enjoy that. I do not enjoy abrasive Bring Me, and thus it feels like they're going in a direction I'm not quite fond of. Judging by their singles that they've released since this record, they're going like hyper pop. And leaning even further in a poppy direction than previous. So they're like really throwing themselves in every which way of the last few years. I don't really understand the aesthetic that they're going for in this like late career. It feels very childish, and they're now like, how old's Ollie now? 30.
He'd be 30, 31.
Yeah. It's like my age essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not exactly.
Hey, I was going to say,
I'm a man baby if there ever was one. So glass houses. I'm gonna huck a rock.
Yeah, look, I think as long as they're doing this shtick, they are going to keep the, like, emo contingent of TikTok as well as emo nights in Melbourne afloat for like, here in Eternum. It's they're never going to die as long as Bring the Horizon keep putting this sort of shit out. And as long as they keep doing that, I can keep showing up and being a tourist. So, bless you, Bring Me the Horizon. Let's have a look at what chat thinks. Daydream says, post-human survival horror's amazing return to form. 2 years later, the messages in the tracks are still aging well, and the guest appearances in this particular release are super fun, especially the ones from Baby Metal and Amy Lee from Evanescence. I do like hearing her sing on that last track, and I like the way their vocals harmonize. It is nice. The messages are, like, so easy. So fucking easy. And without a shred of nuance or self-awareness.
Yeah, there's... I can see how you can romanticize
this is how I feel about
their
it. Anyway.
mid-career material and find depth there. Here, fuck, it's... yeah, like, it's very one note. In my very limited experience, but it seems very one note. It seems very two-dimensional.
Poyo, with regards to the junk food analogy, Poyo says, have you ever been full on McChickens? Didn't think so. Huntsman says, it's an A for me. The singles were fun and the release tracks were also fun for me. Guesties are indeed fun for me. And after Ammo, it felt like Brim Horizon recaptured their range. Okay. Poyo says, instead of wake up, maybe grow up, quotes, Boomer Luke yelling at the kids.
That's a hill I'll die on. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah,
Shard says, when I first heard Posthuman, I immediately thought it sounds just like Linkin Park. Surprisingly enjoyed the Baby Metal collab. Yeah, I like it because I like the stuff that Baby Metal does that sounds kind of similar to that, you know? I like the stuff that sounds like Mick Gordon because I like Mick Gordon. I'm not sure they're doing anything particularly new or inspired on this album or original.
Must I say, once again, aren't the guests the best part of these records? It's funny, it's always the not Bring Me the Horizon material, this Bring Me the Horizon album that really shines.
Sorry, Poyo says emo club terrorist gang. Correct. Jack says Amy Lee's just an incredible vocalist, though. Like, you'd have to try so hard to make her sound bad. That's true. That's true. All right. Well, I mean, this is the quickest, bar none, we've gone through a discography on TDF.
Yep.
So you're welcome for that. Apologies to any Bring the Horizon diehards that felt less than seen on this episode. But please, you know, tell us what are your thoughts on this discography, and let's get a poll going. Who do you think, whose subjective opinion is objectively correct? And yes, you have to pick one.
I think, well, this will probably be a far easier one to choose. It's this really is a
oh no, funny vote for this. Come on.
I really put so much thought into this month. I was sitting there, just listening to each track so many times, really trying to get the nuances out. Definitely wasn't skimming. Going, yeah.
This was a strange one and a hard one for me to get my thoughts in order for, because of just how much nostalgia plays a role in my fondness for these records. Again, I don't think if I was around for Sempiternal and was there for that swell of like, oh my god, this is so exciting, would I feel as fondly for it. But I have ranked albums at an S based purely on, or with nostalgia playing a big enough role in them before that I felt right doing so here. You know, and taking into account the impact that album had on bands trying to do a similar thing at the time, going, holy fuck, you know.
Yeah. yeah, Bring Me really did inform the sound of the time. Not the start of their career, but maybe from Suicide Season onwards. Really, that was a very large release. So could be from there. It did create 1 million around the world, 1 million garage bands. So that's like, I cannot, regardless of whether that first project would have been any good or very fruitful. I'm sure from there it was planting a seed for many musicians to develop a love for heavy music, and that I do have a real respect for, and do thank Bring Me the Horizon for.
And I will say, I am very, very excited to see these guys perform at Good Things, headlining Good Things, the Australian festival later this year. I want to see how they rock a crowd that big now, when I was part of a sizable crowd on the Sempiternal tour and had a blast.
They are a band that I've wanted to see live for many years, just to see how their set runs. How they mix their electronic material with their old material. Yeah,
I'll be curious to hear how far back in their discog they go for a festival audience, Yeah. It should be cool.
Anyway, we have the poll up.
Results. And I won.
Woo! All right.
Woo! I'm not above accepting a hollow victory.
Look, if I won this one, really, we'd just be taking the piss, wouldn't we? I almost feel bad for my lack of heart this month. I know this is a very unprofessional, but I really did struggle to bridge that gap this month. So
dude, I almost messaged you earlier today asking, like, do you just, like, is this episode just a bust?
Yeah.
Like, are you so unenthused?
Look, there is more to tap. There is so much more to tap here. I don't feel that I've done Bring Me the Horizon justice here, because I don't think I've given them enough of a chance. I think I've been very closed to the discography this time around, and I don't like that for myself. But within the constraints of releasing this episode this time, and how I literally, like, vitriolic emotions did come to the fore through so much of this discography, that it made me hard to have an unbiased take. So I'll just wear that, like air dirty laundry. That's on me. It is what it is.
As Carl's put it,
I want to continue with this discography, continue listening to it, hate fuck it a bit more, and try and unlock it more.
Well, I hope that maybe that's the spirit will, like you say, be you're in for that.
Yeah.
Carl says, I enjoyed the opposite viewpoints far more than, say, the Soilwork video, made for more humour and dynamic discussion, much more entertaining than informative, and I'm real done, so I love simple entertainment. Thank you, Carl.
Sure. Well, I'd rather not...
And Furia points out, I'm proud that you didn't just D-tier everything, Luke. The fact that you got a few Bs out of their Discog... I didn't expect that. Really didn't. And I did not expect that for anything pre-Sempiternal.
That's fair.
Certainly not.
Benefit of the doubt, let's say.
B for benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, and it's all relative. But it's like, I don't know if I could give any of the tracks on these records Bs. It's more so the structure and the flow.
Sure.
As I said.
Sure.
But maybe that unlocks me fine appreciation of the songs itself.
Maybe. Now, I've been nervous to find this out all fucking month, but especially today. My stomach has been in knots, wondering how you're gonna fire back.
How I punish.
How do you punish? Yes. How do you punish me for this?
All right. Well, here's my month. Here's my pick. And then after that chat, we are moving to a community pick. So put your thinking caps on, and you've got 1 month to come up with your choice for what we listen to.
That's right.
And rank.
That means month after. Luke's November, which we're about to find out, and you guys will be December.
That's it. So
holiday season.
Since I will bring you the horizon, Connor, as there is an omen on the horizon. Will it be good or will it be ill? Omens by Lamb of God comes out in 3 days, and I think it's a perfect time for us to hit Lamb of God.
Fuck yeah. All right, let's fucking go, boys.
Yeah, dude. I won't punish you that hard.
My God. I got a treat, guys.
Yeah, see? If I reward bad behavior, he'll keep bringing you this trash, and then you can have us just spewing horrible content out like this.
All right. Fuck yeah. Let's spew, guys. All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Until next month, thank you. We'll see you next time.
Cheers. Enjoy.
Bye.
Stay metal, stay tuned.